So maybe you know some Brazilian, and there is a big possibility because we have Brazilians in all over the world, okay? And you are asking yourself why so many Brazilian people are leaving the country, okay? This video will not be that generic thing that normally you see on YouTube. It will be an inside view because I'm a native, okay? Lived over the last 35 years here. I'm not a foreign that doesn't live here, okay? So the things I will say here will give you a better comprehension of the real problem in Brazil, okay? So stay with me until the end because I'm sure this video will open your mind, okay? I will say here 5 factors that are key for this massive migration of Brazilians is happening, okay? So let's go. Let's go to the first point here, okay? The first point here is the stagnated economy, okay? Brazil has this economic problem that is a chronic problem. It's been like this forever. It's not a thing that Brazil in certain period was very rich and it been decreasing. No, Brazil always had this economical problem. And why this happened? For a lot of factors, okay? I could not mention all the factors. I have other videos in the channel explaining in details because it's a very complex thing. But I could say the economy in Brazil really doesn't grow, okay? And this will lead to the other factors I will say, okay, here in this video. But we have a very rich country with a lot of natural resources, but that's not enough. Have natural resource is the same thing as nothing. If you doesn't have the ways to extract this resource, you cannot build factories, companies that will explore this resource in a way that will benefit the people, okay? So have natural resources not enough. The problem in Brazil, the economic problem is very old, and Brazil has never really surpassed these economical problems. And in my opinion, I don't see in the next decades a way that we can go out of this problem because it's a very deep cultural problem. It's not a simple thing that one person could solve it. Not in democratic ways, okay? But I don't see any way Brazil can go out from this chronic economic problem, okay? And I explain the reasons in other videos on the channel you can watch, okay? But that's the fact number 1. Brazil has a very stagnated economy. Number 2, high degree here course doesn't have any value, okay? In Brazil, we have this strange phenomenon that we just have a massive amount of universities. It's very easy to get a high degree because here we have this thing. If you want something, the government go there and provide you. Just easy, okay? It's good in some times, but it's not good in other times because let me think. If you make a high degree, if you invest in a university, you should expect you have a return on that investment, okay? But it's not the Brazilian reality. We have plenty of all traditional professions like engineers, lawyers, doctors, like dentists, like every kind of high degree search you can imagine. We have plenty of this. So it's a very saturated market for a very low productivity in the other hand. So it doesn't have all these jobs available for this massive army of people with high degree. Okay, we just doesn't have. So people just go to university 5 years and they figure out they don't have money to survive and just live with their parents forever. or do other thing of life, like Uber, like iFood, or things like this, or just go away of their country. Go to other country to make basic service that will pay more money if they stay here with high degree. It's better many times to go to the USA and cleaning and work in a restaurant and basic things that American doesn't want to do. Okay, I'm not saying it's bad, but let's just think. If you study, if you go to university, you want the return. Okay, but in many times not what happens here, because there are too many universities. In university and high degree doesn't worth anything here in Brazil, at least. Number 3, the scarcity of jobs. As I said, the Brazilian economy is very stagnated, and we doesn't have jobs. When I say jobs, I mean good jobs, okay? Because if you work to, if you get a minimum wage job here to earn like $300 per month, you cannot survive with this money. Yes, you can survive, but you will get a very bad life condition. So we have jobs to earn minimum wage, but minimum wage is very low. The purchase power here is very low. And imagine yourself, if you are a middle class person, Brazilian middle class, and you live with comfort all your life with your parents, and you make a high degree and you discover it doesn't worth anything. Will you work for other person for the minimum wage to decrease your standard of life? No, you just live with your parents forever until 30s, until up to the 30s. And that's another question that I will point here. You start to work for the government, because here working for the government has a lot of advantages in comparison to get a minimum wage, things like this in the private sector. Okay, public jobs pay in the average 2 or 3 times more than a normal job, and you cannot be fired. That is a huge advantage. And you cannot be fired, and you stay there forever. Just like this, you don't worry to serving the client, things like this in the private sector that you have to worry about. Okay, so that's the reality. If a middle class person just gets here the high degree, he concludes it doesn't worth anything and just or emigrates, go to other country, or study to be a public servant. Okay. The fourth reason here is the violence. Okay, this is a big problem. Okay, this is a huge one, because when a person see the violence here, the violence rate is very high. Okay, the crime rates here are very high in many capitals. Okay, obviously there are some capitals that are not like this that I mentioned in the channel. You can watch good cities to live in. But in the majority of times, when a city passes a certain amount of population, it begins to be very dangerous. Because the laws here, it's another complex thing. The laws here are the same for all the country. Okay, it's not decentralized laws like in USA. One state have minority laws. Like it's different from state from the others. In some states in USA you have good laws for the criminals. In other states you have bad laws for the criminals. Here in Brazil the law is very good for the criminals. It's very easy to make crimes here. You have no punitions in the majority of cases. Okay, so it's very good for the criminals. And that's why violence here is just too high. Okay, and people be scared of this, of raising their children in a very violent conditions, things like this, and just want a better life, just like this. I'm not saying all the states are like this here in Brazil, all the cities are violent, but normally the big cities are like this, okay, unfortunately. And number 5, the politics. Okay, really the politics here are very bizarre, very bad. Okay, I'm not saying politicians are better in other countries, but the Brazilian ones here are very above the average, below the average, sorry. The politics in Brazil are basically for the last century a leftist, populist, nationalist government. Okay? Leftist, populist, and nationalist. That's the main reason, one of the main reasons that Brazil doesn't go to the richness. It's been chronic. Okay? Populist, the government always promising things and providing things, and he always provides things, but he charges a lot of taxes for that, okay, because the government doesn't produce anything. Every time he promises something, if he promises a lot, he charges a lot of tax, okay? So Brazil was always like this, promising a lot, because the culture in Brazil is this paternalism and populism. If a politician doesn't promise a lot of things, he doesn't go elect. It's just like this. No matter if it's left or right, no matter what it is, he always have to provide a lot and spend a lot of money too. And had this nationalist thing that is always very nocive thing. Nationalist in the way of cultural people think that the state has to have the monopoly in everything. He has to protect Brazilian from the capital, the foreign capital. So this makes Brazil be very delayed in relation to other countries, other rich countries. He doesn't open up the borders to lower import taxes, low the oil market to other companies go here and just compete with each other for lower price of the gasolines, things like that. No, because we have to protect from all this evil, oh my God, this foreign evil, things like this, okay? And we have this leftism culture, okay? Populist, nationalist, leftist. The government tends to the left here always, with just be anti-capitalist thinking of culture, and this anti-capitalist is in all the ways we see in the society. People hate the capitalism in many ways. It's very complex, but this politic thinking, many people in Brazil doesn't agree with the politics here, and mainly with the elections of the last president that is extremely to the left, make a lot of people think better about being in Brazil with their safety. We have this dictatorship of the speech now, okay? So the leftism always tends to the authority thing, and at the end of the day, many people are worried about that, of this politic, and doesn't see change and just go away while it's time, okay? So I hope this video gave you a better understanding of Brazil. Put in the comments here what you think about how is your country, and if you have any questions, put in the comment too, okay? And that's it. Tap the like button, subscribe the channel, and see you.